Good afternoon to you all. It is a very pleasant things that this first I am the first. It is very pleasant for me to be the
Please
first
enter your
speaker
PIN
of this
code
series.
followed by the pound sign.
I'm happy to be the part of this webinar
We
organized
did
by
not receive
Bahula
any input.
Laboratory.
Goodbye.
Uh, and as we are already circulated, the subject is for today seminar is meeting the challenges of the pandemics. So first of all, let me congratulate you all and express my good wishes on the occasion of Hanuman's birthday. Today being the Hanuman's birthday, I congratulate you. I extend my good wishes to you on this happy occasions of homeopathy. Today, the entire world is celebrating the World Homeopathy Day. Friends, now it is high time because we are passing through a very critical time that once again the planet Earth is facing new pandemic threats with COVID-19 ready to engulf the whole humanity. It is just a return almost after a century. You may be recalling, I have not seen, in 1918, sometimes in 1918, the flu outbreak was there and millions of people lost their lives. At that time also, homeopathy had extended its services with great satisfactions to the all. And it is not a new thing. Before Hahnemann and after Hahnemann also, the whole of the humanity has been used to face such challenges and new strategies are being tried. By it is very critical that by the time some new remedies are discovered, a large number of people has to sacrifice their life. Experimentations and new search, it is going on, but still, even with so much advancement in the medicines, we are having so much this type of the threats are coming. It is not that the nature has its own way to go, and how we can keep ourselves engaged with this ready for that, like the remaining conscious for the disaster management system in the medicine system, and for all of us, it has become very necessary to understand. Uh, some 250 years back, I think 260 years back, emergence of Dr. Hahnemann on this earth brought a new message of peace and relief to face such challenges. During Hahnemann times itself, and we have some literatures by him which speaks of Hahnemann has got name and fame fighting such type of the pandemic situations like that of the cholera and some others. The history, it is in the history. So Hahnemann's experience was based on his practical approach to the medicines. Effect of minute particles beyond visibility, which can create such a devastating situation, substance. It's a time to learn. It is a time to experience. It is a time to share. Not to become panic. We have the history. We have the present. learn from this from the presence. Dr. Henneman observed the cause and effect are changeable. Things which can bring change in minute needs to be tackled with similar types of antigens. This is very important that Henneman has learned and how the kind are affecting our lives. He has devoted so much time spending research and observing the clinical conditions. And with this, he came out with the principle of curing the dynamic natures of miasmatic disease with the highly diluted medicinal substance, which is beyond molecules, is based on the nature's law. Dr. Henneman has the visibility, has the vision of understanding the nature of the disease, which is beyond the viruses, which is beyond much more minute than the viruses, and that was he called it the miasmatic disorders. So it is not. It is just I feel when I heard this going through these situations, I have the thoughts, I have the time to think that Henneman has a vast experience of observing the nature's phenomena, how the minute things can affect and how the minute things can be utilized. So both they can be the weapon, they can be the dangers. Henneman, with his vast experience, observed that disease having influence out of the dynamic plane to bring observable symptoms on the physical plane. Being affected at the vital plane and seeing the effect on the physical plane. He observed that sora miasm are the base of all diseases, which only get transformed as rearrangement of symptoms. Mind it, rearrangement of symptoms observed as different disease. Sora is like hydra-headed, which reappears as different forms at a different time. As a physician, we need to observe the basic symptoms without going into the nomenclature, which represents only few symptoms. Only the names are derived based on only few symptoms. And we know that every human beings are different from each other. We need to select individual medicines based on the totality of his personal symptoms appearing on mental, physical, and vital plane. During pandemic situations, there are many common symptoms prevalent in almost all patients. As such, genus epidemicus will help in bringing a common remedy for a particular region. These genus epidemics are created or found out by observing so many symptoms, so many patients, and finding out the common medicines. But these common medicines can be used as an emergency medicines to fight out in a palliative way only. Pandemic disease, which belongs to the acute category of disease, as such, all treatment strategy need to be followed as tackling the acute diseases. So, Dr. Henneman has classified it under the acute disease, pandemic disease. Different classifications for the acute diseases are there. So it comes under the and the treatment approach has been given. Treatment approach are for the acute disease. For the acute disease, we have to take into consideration of the presenting particular symptoms, which are usually opposite to the nature of the patient. Mind it, when we talk about the particular symptoms, we must be aware what is the nature of the what should be the nature of the particular symptom. Particular symptoms are those symptoms which is available on the particular parts, but they to be categorized as a particular characteristics particular, they have to be just opposite to the generals. That is just opposite to the nature of the patient. The patient what he pay like what we see in arsenicum L, the whole patient's demand, the whole every part of the body demands warm applications, but the headache demands the cold application. So this is very this particular for as to be indicated as a medicines, and it becomes very specific for that situations. So finding out the characteristics of particular symptoms is very important during these situations, because almost all those symptoms which follows the general. Suppose patient is very cold and he is feeling cold, this is common symptoms and it is not going to give you any medications. Then comes the modalities, which are quite distinct, because modality has got the two phases, the acute phase and the chronic phase. Chronic modalities are those modalities by which the patients are very much used to it. They don't, they become so much uh, aware of that. They don't feel like expressing. They don't feel like talking about them. But it is, and it becomes gradually becomes tolerable. But the acute modalities are very painful, and it is beyond the tolerance of the patient, and so they represent in a better way the nature of the symptoms. So we have to look for the nature of the modality, and it may be the very much indicative for the patients. Like pulsatilla, the pain is very much there, but the pain in the legs, it is better by getting applications of the cold. It become and the patient is very hot, so it becomes very particular uh, particular modalities for this situation. Next comes the confluence of many common symptoms. Now, acute disease means what? It is not the suffering from one side, it is suffering from every side. So many symptoms, common symptoms, they come together. And it also provides the medicines. And it is an approach, it is an approach which reflects the nature of the inner disturbance, and the problems getting reflected at different places in the different form of the same individuals. So when the too many symptoms are coming and having the different, suppose the patient is having cough and cold, and at the same time it is having the diarrhea, it is having some other problem, fever. So they are simply the reflection. They should be taken as the single symptoms, because they are the accompanying, or they can be taken as the concomitantly. So this is very important understanding that we have to keep in mind. Confluence of the common symptoms, and they become, when too many common symptoms are there, they are indicative. They can help you in diagnosing the medicine. And then comes the time. Time. Time has special importance in selection. We need to search for the particular times modality. Arsenica mel, 12 p.m. in the night, exact 12 p.m., exact lycopodium afternoon, because it has these has been proved, this has been repeatedly proved, and they are available with the in the situations. Patient is having the cough and colds, and cough and breathing problem, and it arises only during the mid of the night. We can think about some of the medicines, and this time modality, it has got great importance in the selection of the homeopathic medicines. Then we also look for the peculiarities which lies in finding out the positive and negative presence of the symptoms, because there are so many features are being propagated about certain type of the, like that of the COVID. These the presence of some symptoms and absence of some symptoms, they constitute a better understanding that as a negative generals and the positive generals, it becomes important understanding for the selection of the medicines. And after all, with all this physical status, what is the position of the mind? How the patient is feeling? What are his spirituality? How he is behaving? A patient who is very robust in nature, who is very healthy in nature, and he falls sick, and he feels that why this happened to me, and he becomes so panicky, he becomes so restless. So this man who seems to be very bold, very courageous, becoming with the triple problems is becoming uh, shattered. So these status of the mental status during the physical sufferings, these are very important things that we need to consider for selection of uh, remedy. Then I'm concerned that along with all this totality, constituting the totality, that from all symptoms arising from all these area, a little observations will help you. Very little observations, and you have to see and watch and observe what the patient is saying and how he is saying. This is important. What he is saying and how he is saying, and what is his expressions. They needs to be understood properly to identify and analyze the viability of the symptoms, because symptoms has to be viable. Reliability is very important, whether it is being just a fake symptoms or you have to analyze it, you have to find it out. And when you get a totality of the symptoms, mind it that homeopathy, Dr. Henneman has rightly said, and it is well said that, and related to the principle that a patient is never indicated by a single symptoms, however peculiar it may be. Mind it, however peculiar it may be. You have to, a set of the symptoms should combine together to get one medicine. And when you are having, when you are thinking of prescribing on the keynote symptoms or only one characteristic symptoms, they may act as a palliative but not as a curative, because they are not covering the patient as a whole. So as a physicians, our duty is to find out the curative medicines. Yeah, in case of the emergency, the palliative is okay. But in case of, but after the palliations, after the relief, you have to search for the curative medicines also. And for this, I recommend, I feel, and in my practice, I find repertorial way is very important, and better way to arrive at the correct simillimum. And even for the acute conditions, I used to take help of the repertory for comparing the medicines, for selecting the medicines, because I keep it online. The repertory online nowadays, it is very easier, and you can, the patient seated before you, the medicine calculation system seated before you. It gives you a big opportunity to arrive at the right medicines. So it is very important for to understand that you must have the understanding about the repertorial way, the symptoms, the rubrics. We have to be aware about that. And the rubrics are has been categorized as the natures, and we have to be very much versed with that. Then again, we have certain remedies which are has been termed as the rare remedy, and many a time it is required. So we must also have the therapeutic base, and this therapeutic base has to be created among the medicines belonging to the genus Epidemicus. Yeah, I am only thinking saying that the medicines, those medicines you are try make a collection of those medicines which belongs to the genus Epidemicus group. In my present situations, I have searched some of the rare remedies from the boric metra medica, like sarcolactic acid, ginkgum muraticum, and there are few many more medicines which has come to my mind that they may be helpful. Yeah, I see on lots of remedies being uh, from the different practitioners they are saying they are advocating one medicines or two medicines. Don't go by that. I try to get into the Metria Medica. Keep a stock of them, keep a note of them, and use them um, in a very judicious way by understanding the natural. Because even the rare remedies have some good indications, and they can provide you very good results in your cases. Friends, it is not a time to get panic. It is a time to get aware or to observe and learn from the situations. Dr. Henneman has given you the message that medicines is like a patience. It is like a prayer. It is like the meditations. Medicines has come from the word meditations. So meditations and medicines, I feel that medicine, you cannot get the medicine without meditations. So just before you think of prescribing any medicines, I am not going to tell you the name of medicines which may be applicable for this, because there are many medicines being advocated at this time for this present situations of the corona. So, but all these are okay. But patients who is seated before you, how much thoughts you have given to that patient, this is very important. How much mind you have applied to your patient, because the physicians are those persons who apply their mind before prescribing. If you don't have the if you are not able to apply your mind properly, not able to think, that medicines becomes the plausible medicines, or may work, may not work. You may not be confident about that. And without your confidence prescribing, you may feel shaky of changing the medicines, constantly changing the patients. I used to see people, doctors changing medicines one after another and getting frustrated. But once you have a thought on the medicines, once you have analyzed it properly, once you have made clear about the about your clarity in your mind about the symptoms, group of the symptoms, you will have the patience to wait for some time, because some medicines take time. Some medicines act very fast. Some medicines are deep acting. Some medicines are slow acting. You have to be aware. The potency selections is also equally important at these situations. And we have to keep in mind that Dr. Henneman, he has and the repetitions of the dosage, but only keep your hand tight. After you have prescribed, just have some patience to wait and observe, because no medicine is going to, it has to act either in a right way or wrong way. If you find it to be going to the wrong way, you can make some other prescriptions. But if you have making mistake is no crime, but we have to, repeating mistake is a crime. We have to be aware of that. These situations, we have to be careful for these situations. I on this pandemic situations, on this situations created by the in the country, all over the globe, I feel we homeopath have got much things to offer to the patients. I hope the government will listen to us, have just show your efficacy. Just prove yourself, because your action will prove, your medicines will prove. Not what you say will prove, but when the patients are getting, because I see the patients, they go from mouth to mouth advertisements to us. So this is an important message, and with this I feel we are we shall be doing, and we shall get learning more about the pandemics, and we shall be getting many more information. I thank you all very much for your very patient listening. I can invite any of the questions if you want.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything to ask Dr. Sahani? You can either send in a message, or you can even speak into your microphone and everybody can hear what you're saying. I don't think there are any things, Dr. Sahani. We thank you once again for honoring us to be our first speaker of the series of webinars for I Love Homeopathy. And we hope to have you again, Dr. Sahani.
I am always with you, sir. Anytime you just make, I'll be with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So this entire seminar has been recorded, and if you'd like a copy or if you'd like a link, we can send it to you by email. So just email me at, wait, let me give you my email on this. Okay, there it is. So the next seminar is on Monday afternoon, 4 o'clock.